aspects. But Dan, could you kind of talk about why we might want to co-apply some of these products with these new formulations of herbicides?
Sure. Well, and when we start to look at some of these things, the greater opportunity, and we've been seeing more and more of opportunities and growers and people wanting to combine as many components together as possible to get the best response possible, to minimize the cost of going over the field. You know, growers, their time is limited, and they want to make certain that they're getting the best use out of their time, best use out of their input dollar as far as the fuel and equipment going over the field, and they want to make as few passes going over the field as possible. And in doing such, we want to make certain that we are keeping those chemicals performing as well as possible. So some of the things like, Isaiah was talking about, we look at Intensify, Syntos, Bullseye, are products that are going to work with some of those chemicals to reduce drift, such as the Bullseye. Keep that product on target, help the applicators meet the requirements for applying. We look at, a lot of growers are talking about every time they're making a pass over the field, they want to add in some sugar. So adding in the Syntos product at a pint per acre is a great way to do that. It's going to provide some additional benefits. We look at the Intensify in being able to get that out there, enhance the crop, encourage the crop to produce bigger leaves, bigger root systems, so that it can take up more and gather more sunlight with the bigger leaves, take up more nutrients with the bigger root system. And then if we are seeing some issues with some nutrient aspects, we talk about limiting factors, and maybe we're limiting in our boron or our manganese or zinc or whatever micronutrient. There may be opportunities to go out and make some applications, include some of those products to provide those certain nutrients that are needed to further stimulate the plant, to get those chemicals into the plant better. So it really helps to work on a couple of fronts, to stimulate the plant, as also, if we can get some of those nutritionals in there, to stimulate that plant, as well as killing off those weeds as well. So that would be some of the reasons I would look at including these, and just make certain that we do follow those state regulations, read those labels on those products to make certain that we are meeting all the requirements that are included in that as well.
Yeah, absolutely, Dan. And something that I think is very important, and one of the biggest reasons that we really pursued getting some of these products onto these approved tank mix partner labels is that herbicide resistance is not going away. It's not an issue that is going to get better anytime soon. It's all about really properly managing and implementing management practices with herbicides to really tackle those herbicide-resistant weeds. And really the best way to do that is by implementing multiple modes of action. And that's the whole idea behind products like this, XtendiMax and this Duo, allowing you to use a mode of action, these growth regulators, specifically on broadleaf crops like soybeans, that was never really available before. So I think these are going to be pivotal going forward in the future. We're already seeing more developments and more traits being released with transgenic crops to include even more families of herbicides. So I think it's really important, and it shows that Conklin is really fighting to stay on the cutting edge, in the fact that we're really keeping everything on track to make sure that our products can be mixed with these really cutting edge products, such as XtendiMax. I think these are going to be pretty common going forward. I think in the past few years, they've already gotten more and more common. Growers are planting them just to even avoid drift issues in some cases. I know growers in Arkansas were purchasing dicamba or 2,4-D resistant beans or corn and not even using these specific formulas, just to reduce the likelihood that their neighbor might drift on them and cause issues.
Right. Yep. And this has been a lengthy process. to this point, we've got about 2 years into that registration and getting on that approved tank mix partner list. So it's not something that does happen overnight. You have to go through EPA specified testing, and not necessarily all products that are submitted are going to pass that test. So it is a stringent test. It is something that is very critical to make certain that it's not going to increase the opportunity for drift or movement off target. So it is something that is very worthwhile, and it does give growers another opportunity, and as Isaiah said, another tool in the toolbox for using those chemicals and using the AgroVantage System products with those chemicals as well.